What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Team Chat Podcast, a video game show. I'm one of your hosts, Jarrett Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno to you as well. How are you this fine afternoon?
It's not 100 degrees today,
Oh my
so
God.
very exciting.
We had a wonderful break in the heat.
Oh, it
because
was only
it's already
75 at noon.
Only 75 at noon and not even
that's-
humid.
That's news.
Had a nice, cool breeze.
It was nice.
Fantastic.
Real
Unfortunately, that is at the time I had to go to work, so I couldn't get to, be outside and enjoy it as much as I wanted to.
Tragic.
But
Who needs to go outside anyways,
it was
right?
still wonderful, at least being able to go to work, get out of my car, and walk into work, and not be a sweaty mess already. So
Isn't it the best when
It's
you
a
get
win.
to
It's a win.
when you leave work and get in your car and it's not 110 in your car?
and it takes the whole drive home to even cool off a little
the
bit.
tiniest, and rolling
Just get
down
all
the windows
sweaty.
doesn't help.
Doesn't help because it's just hot air.
It's so hot air. All the air is hot.
We live in a hellscape, everyone.
We really do. We gotta move to Minnesota or
Yeah,
something. One of them there
somewhere
northern
close
states.
to mountains that creates cool air every day.
Not
all that
Denver,
stuff.
apparently, though. I've heard that Denver's so flat, they just kind of trap the air over them.
Oh.
So, their air quality is actually really, really bad.
Interesting.
But just Denver. The places
everywhere else
around
is
it.
fine?
Yeah.
Huh.
How about them apples, right?
I still like the New Mexico air. That place. It's very dry.
Never been.
Really?
Yeah, no.
Oh, New Mexico's
I have
nice.
flown over it, and I looked down upon their different color of dirt, and I was like, fancy.
Yeah,
nice.
We used to go to Carlsbad Caverns a lot. This is a wild tangent, but we'll get back to video games eventually.
Someday.
But we would go to Carlsbad Caverns a lot and then we went to White Sands and stuff like that.
I do really want to go
Santa
to White
Fe
Sands.
and stuff
and
like.
the Santa Fe. My parents
yeah.
love Santa Fe.
Well, and then Sam and I just went to Albuquerque and Santa Fe. Oh, it was 3 years ago at this point, but 3-4 years ago at this point.
Went 3 years ago.
What is time anymore? But yeah, and we loved it. It was great. But yeah, it would get 90 in the middle of the day. It'd be pretty toasty, but every morning and night, 60 to 65 degrees.
Oh my God, the
Incredible.
dream. The dream.
No mosquitoes. It was great.
Because there's no
It's
water.
no water. There's no water for
What
those
a
motherfuckers.
solution.
As opposed to here, where you can't go outside without getting swarmed by 30 of them
Oh my God.
in 5 seconds.
If we just don't have the water, we will solve the mosquito problem. Create a different problem in the process.
I
bud.
like it. You create the world of Mad Max, but hey, we don't have mosquitoes. So, it's a
Yeah,
win-win.
you never
It's a
saw
win-win.
you never saw Mad Max putting on bug spray.
No.
He didn't need it.
Too many other issues having to worry about at the time.
He got 99 problems, but a mosquito ain't one. Oh boy.
Oh boy. Well,
Anyways, video games.
Video games. You can tell it's going to be a great one for you today because we're going to be talking about recapping all of the different Summer Game Fest and adjacent showcases that have been coming out over the last week. But before we get into all that, who are we? Where can you listen to us? Well, we're Team Chat Podcast. We like to talk about video games, the ones we love, the ones we hate, and everything in between. New episodes come out each and every week, and you can listen to those on podcast services around the World Wide Web, as well as watch a video version of each episode over on our YouTube channel. Links for all that are in the description below. You can find us on social media at Facebook, Threads, Instagram, and TikTok. And you can also find us over on Discord, where we have a lot of great conversation when we're not here recording the show. Buy some of our merch at tpublic.com/team-chat- podcast. Links in the description. You can find it there, but we got a lot of cool merch that you can check out. If you're also looking out for another way to support the show, you can head over to patreon.com/teamchatpodcast, just like Allison H, Ark, Brandon W, Bro Mogan, Super Saiyan Ace, Erica L, Elise F, Fuchsia, Michael B, Michael S, Snooty Boots, Susan M, and Zach S have done, whereas for as little as $1 a month, you can support the show. And in return, we give you cool perks like getting the episodes early before their general weekly release, access to a private channel over on our Discord server, the Rogues Gallery, as well as some extra goodies along the way. But if you can't support the show over on Patreon, that's no big deal. We totally understand. And we just love if you could show your support in other ways, such as telling your friends, writing us reviews, or, subscribing wherever you're listening to or watching the show.
Leave a
helps
comment.
out. Yeah, leave the
a little
comment.
comment on
All
the
that
video.
stuff helps get the good word of Team Chat Podcast out to the masses. And for that, we're eternally grateful and love each and every one of our viewers, listeners, patrons alike. Heart emoji.
Heart emoji, XOXO.
XOXO. But before we get to the main topic of the day, let's get a little bit of news. And what's
Right.
coming out soon. Although I guess this whole episode's pretty news heavy.
Yes.
But let's find out what's at least coming out soon.
Yeah, now I'm not going to backtrack to everything under the sun that came out as a port when the Switch 2 launched, because
So many
it will
things.
be too
Oh my
many
God.
things. I am, however, going to mention a few that I feel are noteworthy. So in case you missed it 10 years ago or whenever it came out, Bravely Default Flying Fairy HD Remaster did launch alongside the Switch 2. It is a Switch 2 exclusive, so you cannot go back and play that on the Switch 1, which kill me, I guess, because I'm not getting the Switch 2 anytime soon. But Bravely Default is phenomenal. I have heard that the quality of life updates that they've made in the new game are a little bit of a mixed bag. They took away a key feature that I really liked, but I think they've done other stuff to maybe even things out. So give it a try. Great game. Everybody loves it. Oh yeah, Mario Kart World. The Switch 2 came out and Mario Kart World is out. I've heard that it's really fun. Again, probably not going to play it anytime soon, but looks pretty neat. We've also got Puyo Puyo Tetris 2S for the Switch 2. This game actually looked really fun. If you've never played Puyo Puyo Tetris, it rules. The other game that I know a lot of people are really jazzed about, but I personally have never played, Rune Factory Guardians of Azuma, or Ozma.
Guardians of Gahul?
The Guardians of Gahul, of course, came out for the Switch 2. Would either of us still know Guardians of Gahul if it weren't for that 30 Rock episode where they're on the plane? Sonic X Shadow Generations is also out now for the Switch 2, along with a bunch of other stuff that I don't care about. Splitgate 2 is out now. Hey. If you missed our episode last week, Splitgate 2 got a shadow launch out of nowhere. It's available for the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Nice.
We've also
got the things, love it.
We've also got Squeak Cross. Squeak Home is out for regular Switch and PC. We've got Alien Hominid Invasion for the PS5 and PlayStation 4. And then out as of today's recording date on June 10th, Dune Awakening is out now for PC. Nice. I'm really torn on Dune Awakening. I feel like if it ever comes to consoles, I might actually give it a try. I know I'll never play it on PC, though.
Yeah. It does look like a fun time, but yeah, that the more MMO style or MMO style of game and stuff like that definitely is harder to jump into.
The main reason I'm interested in it is because of like the factions portion.
Yeah.
Because you get to join either first of all, I didn't realize that they were going to have sort of the periphery factions, like the Mentats and the Bene Gesserit. And it's
I never even heard of the Mentats.
Well, exactly.
The Bene Gesserit, I know.
Well, because the modern movies really glaze over the Mentats, but they're like really important. So I think it's awesome that you get to join their faction. I think that's really cool. Personally, I love women doing crimes, so I would join the Bene Gesserit.
Just a little bit of political intrigue.
Just a little political intrigue for you. Anyways, in other news, Mind's Eye is out now for PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine got a Master Crafted Edition for Xbox Series X and S and PC. Stellar Blade is out for PC on June 11th. And then we have a couple of other things that I don't honestly really care about, except for the Gex trilogy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, right?
Blast from the past.
Blast from the past.
Wow.
Gex trilogy is coming to everything. PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, Switch, and PC. And a couple of other things that we're honestly just going to skip over. Because we already have enough games to talk about today.
We do have a buttload of games to talk about today because, like I said, we're going to be talking about all of the showcases from the last couple weeks that, we're dubbing as we have E3 at home.
We have E3 at home.
We no longer have that tent pole of gaming for us to plan our year around. And so this week loves to sneak up on us and be like, oh, hey, a lot of fun stuff coming out. But that is also fun because there is a lot of great stuff coming out and some stuff that we get to look forward to in the next coming months and year or so. But we're going to kick it off to start off with the State of Play from Sony, which was on June 4th, 2025. Now, as is per usual, whenever we do an episode like this, we're not going to talk about everything. Not every single game, tickled our fancy, but, we also don't have the time to talk about every single one of these games because we're not going to talk about them all.
We do not have the time.
But this is a fun one to start off with. Astrobot is getting new levels. So that's an exciting thing.
Really exciting. And I believe they're totally free. So as of this summer? So they're not out quite yet, but Astrobot getting some new levels, some more challenging levels for those of you that are interested in that, like me included. I really need to go back and finish Astrobot. Such a good, fun game. I think this is actually the second kind of major content update they've done for Astrobot for free. So awesome. Keep it coming. Everybody loves that.
Can I say share a hot take?
Sure.
I honestly did not love Astrobot that much.
Oh, that is a hot take. Whoa. All right, we're gonna have to put a pin in that.
We'll have to come back around to it.
We're gonna have
and
to
talk
circle
about,
back to that.
Astrobot. Sorry, I know I just had. I apologize
God.
about dropping a bomb like that, but like it is fun. It's very delightful, but I did kind of get a little tired with the gameplay loop.
How far did you make it?
Like in the second or third galaxy.
Okay, unacceptable. You made it far enough that you should have loved it.
All right, well,
Okay,
we'll talk about that another time.
Jesus.
So let's see. Then we got Baby Steps coming. That one looks like I mean, we've heard about this before. It's actually
This
coming
one
onto
looks
PS5.
crazy.
But, it's the one where it's basically like the modern day QWERTY game, like
Yeah.
running game and everything. It looks bonkers.
Ooh, Bloodstained.
yeah.
The Scarlet Engagement looks like a pretty fun new RPG coming soon. Moving
on.
Oh, this one is We Have Jusant at Home. so there's a new rock climbing game, like a mountain climbing, rock climbing game coming out called Cairn. And if you're not familiar with what a cairn is, it's the word for those little piles of stones that you see on hiking paths and other stuff like that.
I
So
want to add some of those little towers in our backyard.
you should do some of those. So if you're into climbing or if you're into a sort of chill adventure RPG games, which is what this sort of seems like to me, Cairn might be right up your alley.
And it seems pretty cool. Like it have some fun little gameplay mechanics in that. Like the majority of it is apparently that you can climb on any path up the mountains, but you have
So
to
can
just
Link. That's not special.
Okay, but Link can barely go up 5 feet before he's like, "Ugh, I'm tired," and falls all the way down to the bottom.
He's a relatable king.
But in this one, it seems pretty cool because it is where you're balancing your endurance and other resources that you have as you make literally
Yes.
any path you want up the mountain. So that's kind of fun and leads for some, inventive exploration and stuff
Yeah.
like that, I would say. Got a new Digimon game coming out. Everybody golfs.
Yeah.
Or everybody's golf.
What a terrible
That
name.
Hot shots. Yeah, that is kind of like grammatically weird. Like, do we all collectively own golf?
I don't know. It makes no sense to me. But in better news, Final Fantasy
Yeah.
Tactics is back.
Which is
Yes.
crazy. I was talking about this with a couple guys at work when there was some rumors going on that that this might be coming back, and they were both just like, that would be the wildest thing ever.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've not played Final Fantasy Tactics, but I understand the impact of both the game and the series overall.
I feel like I remember being a kid and in my neighborhood, somebody else that I used to hang out with got Final Fantasy Tactics. And I remember looking at the box
Yeah.
for the PlayStation 1 and being like, I don't get it. And then I watched her play it a little bit and I was like, I still don't get it.
Yeah, because I mean, it's that strategy.
It's
like
a strategy
turn-based
RPG.
kind of thing.
Yes,
so
it's a tactical RPG.
Yeah, in the XCOM vein or the Mario Rabbids.
Yeah, Mario Rabbids. So I'll be totally upfront. Final Fantasy Tactics, not for me, but it does look very cool. I'm very glad that the series is getting a bit of a revival, and
Yeah.
it is coming out on September 30th for PlayStation 5 and PS4, I believe.
Don't even have to wait that long.
Don't
That's
even have to
great.
wait that long. Yeah.
The one thing I will say, just kind of overall in reviewing and talking about this one, especially for Sony, usually has a few hits and everything for me, but not a ton really landed for me.
Yeah, I'm
But it is
willing to
exciting to
also
see
agree
that
with
this
that.
one, that we are going to be getting another State of Play in July for Ghost of Yotei.
Yeah.
Because that game obviously is going to be so good. We got until October still to wait for that one, but it is definitely just seeing how that one is shaping and developing is going to be fun.
Are you ready for the most random tangent I've done on the show in
hit
a while?
me with it.
Okay, so I think I watched a YouTube video all about breaking down the various 20 plus seasons of a long running anime called Precure. Or if you're
Okay.
being formal about it, Pretty Cure. The Precure / Pretty Cure cinematic universe, if you want to call it that, has been going since the early 2000s. And I swear to God, it's like a yearly release. It seems like they release a new Pretty Cure season every single year, and they're all wildly different. So I was like, you know what? Fine. You've influenced me. I've got a Crunchyroll account. I'll go look one of these up. So I've been recently watching Tropical Rouge Precure, which is a very, I don't even know how to describe it. It's a magical girl anime on steroids. It's incredible how they were you know what? There's not going to be any of that tongue-in-cheek, haha, look at how we're parodying or satirizing magical girl anime. No. It's about colors and rainbows and summer fun and friendship. And
Hell
I'm
yeah.
yes, I love this. I love the sincerity that they're going for here. But all this to say, the lead character's voice sounded familiar. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go look up her voice actress because I feel like I've heard this voice before. And in the process of looking up the very hyperactive, high energy, girly girl, like middle schooler voice of the main character, as it turns out, that same voice actress is voicing the protagonist in Ghost of Yotei.
Really?
At least this is
Erika Aishi?
no, Fairouz Ai. In the Japanese version.
In the Japanese version.
You didn't let me finish my thought.
Sorry, I was like, wait, I know her. I know them too.
So I think her name is either Fairouz or Fairuzu. I forgot exactly what it was when I looked it up, but yeah, I was like, what a connection.
Yeah.
Now I couldn't quite tell if she's voicing the main character in Ghost of Yotei the entire time, or if maybe she just voices her as like a child.
I see.
So I'm like, but still,
the
that's
fun
fucking
crossover is great.
bonkers. That I just started watching this anime from like 5 years ago, and it's like, hey, look, there she is. Ghost of Yotei.
Speaking of like weird connections like that we just found out, I also had one like that happen similarly as well. Season 2 of Andor recently wrapped up, which also fan-fucking-tastic. Like, not even if you're a Star Wars fan, it's just good damn TV. So go check that out on your own time. But the actor who plays Dedra, the Imperial ISB officer, who's in everything.
Yes. Queen bitch with the hair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Denise Go, I believe is her, or Gao is her name. Recently found out about halfway through Andor season 2, she is Yennefer in the Witcher games.
No,
or at least
shit.
Witcher 3.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I was like, what?
That's wild.
Had no idea. So
That
what a fun
rules.
little crossover. Okay, anyway, back to the state of play.
what were we doing? The other stuff we were talking about.
So
in other news, one of the big highlights, I feel like this was sort of the marquee game of the Sony State of Play, which is First Light 007. So this is a new entry in the 007 series.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's been a long ass time since they made a 007 game, right?
Because I feel like they made one within the Daniel Craig years, but like
maybe like a mobile game.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to check. But
I feel like we would remember it if they had made one.
But also, this one's nice and different. I feel like because it's not tied into the movies. It's its own. James Bond has his own look and everything like that. We'll be going through his own new missions.
Bond. Yeah, this is like a young James Bond. You gather that he's sort of fresh out of, I guess, Spy Academy, and he's like joining up with the what do they call it? Chemical X. What the fuck is there? Mark IV. MM5. What is the
MI6?
MI6, Jesus.
I was like, we jumping into X-Men now? What?
No,
I'm
I
confused.
just couldn't think of it. MI6. You gather that he's just recently joined MI6. And he's like the problematic, hot-headed, right out of college guy. So I personally hate that. I hate that for me. What a bummer that he's not old and sexy, but
maybe there's a time jump.
Maybe there's probably not going to be a time jump.
There's going to be a time jump.
In all of the many minutes of trailers they showed, there was no time jump. But the maybe saving grace of Young Bond is that it's a game from IO Interactive.
Yeah.
They make the Hitman games. The Hitman games are incredible. The gameplay's probably going to be really fun. Although this game does look a lot more action-oriented. There were car chase scenes. Ooh. There was a lot of shootouts. That's honestly, what I'm trying to say here.
That feels appealing. Like, I love, we are both Hitman enjoyers and miscounters of the men. But this looks fun because while, IOI already has established themselves as the Hitman, if they just made a Hitman clone but reskinned, then you're just like, okay, this is Hitman. I do love, and we already talked about this last week on our episode about how they did have the crossover event with Hitman where you can, play a special time DLC mission with Le Chiffre from Casino Royale, played by Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome.
So, there's a lot of good stuff with it, but I'm curious about it. It could be a fun foray into it that's a little bit different. Fun that it's different from the movies, and it's not GoldenEye.
Not GoldenEye, yeah.
Got a few more things going for it.
And they say that it's going to launch on PS5 next year. Anytime I see a non-defined next year, that means it's coming out in 2027. So just don't put too much stock into that.
August to holiday.
Although I have a lot of faith in IO Interactive. Yeah. So if anybody's going to deliver a game on time, I feel like it might be IO.
Yeah,
so maybe I should have more faith.
Pretty great.
A game that I, again, personally will not play, but a lot of people on our Discord were losing their shit over this game. Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls.
Yeah.
So this is like a 2D fighting game a la Street Fighter, if you will, but with all of the Marvel characters that you know and love, except Squirrel Girl wasn't in the trailer. So if you're familiar with her from Marvel Heroes...
Rivals?
Well, Rivals. There we go.
Wow, we dropped off of that
Yeah.
game. Hey, remember that game? It was fun. I keep meaning to play that again.
Anyways, Tokon Fighting Souls looks like it has really fun gameplay. I'm sure that people that are fans of fighting games are going to love this one.
Well, and it also has a more of an anime art style to it as well, which is a really cool look. Honestly, I kind of love that we're getting a big influx of fighting games again right now. Like, because we're getting this one, obviously we've both been really into Mortal Kombat 1, Tekken 8. Super Saiyan on the Discord was posting that he's back into Street Fighter 6 recently.
Yep.
I just kind of love that we're seeing an uptick in the release of fighting games, because we got Tokon Fighting Souls, and then it was later in the Xbox game showcase, I think, but there was still the Invincible Versus game, which is the Invincible Universe's fighting game. It's a bunch of other ones too, but very fun to see kind of a resurgence in mainline fighting games.
And Tokon Fighting Skulls is coming from Arc System Works. They have a very strong pedigree in the fighting game arena. So
Hell yeah.
Good for them. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection.
Speaking of fighting games, this is the other thing too that was super cool. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, it's going to be just a combination, like all the classics. So even into some of the early 3D era, and even handhelds. So that'll be really fun. With full online play, you can play even the original versions. Rollback netcode.
Yep.
Yeah, so really cool that's coming out.
And I feel like they're like all of the other major gaming franchises, it feels like, that have those old 90s sort of pedigrees.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of them have already done this. So it's nice to see Mortal Kombat finally also get their little vintage heyday in the sun.
Agreed.
Ninja Gaiden. Okay, Ninja Gaiden looks...
Oh, this is a different one.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. Wait, this is a different one.
Ninja Gaiden 4.
Sorry, we got confused. There are two different Ninja Gaidens. So this is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, and this one's coming out very soon on July 31st. So it is a spectacular new side-scrolling entry into the acclaimed series. It is releasing for PS5 and PS4 on July 31st. I do love a good side-scrolling adventure fighting game. It's not a fighting game, but you get the idea.
Well, I mean, and this is a selling point too. Game Kitchen, Blasphemous 1 and 2 developer is who's making it.
That means it's going to be hard as fuck.
It's
going to be so hard.
It's going to be so hard.
But I feel like that makes perfect sense for Ninja Gaiden, because that's kind of what Ninja Gaiden is known for.
It's always been known as being the hard-ass game.
So it makes perfect sense. Both of the main characters look sexy, so I'm on board with that.
Spider-Man clone, though. Spider-Man ripoff there. Bit.
That's Spider-Woman,
okay,
obviously.
I'm more referring to the logo of the giant spider tattoo on the back.
Yeah.
That looks straight off of his suit.
Anyways, speaking of ninjas, it's not actually ninjas, but it's close. Neo 3.
Very
so
cool.
Neo is getting a long-awaited sequel, I think. When was the last time?
It's been a
Neo 2
Neo 2 is
You
at
keep
least,
talking, I'll look it up.
I'm going to say Neo 2 was 2017 or 18.
Ooh, you think so? I'm going to guess 2016, just to be contrarian.
Okay. Ooh.
Neo 2. All right, Neo 2 came out in 2020.
Damn it!
We're just fucked up. We just can't
really
remember
are
dates.
fucked up. We have no idea of time anymore.
Okay, well,
what
we're
is
both
this?
super wrong. All right, so Neo 3 is coming out actually not that long after Neo 2 ended, I guess. And it's coming to PS5. I think they just had an estimate 2026 date on that one.
Yeah. And then we just got a few updates with some other games coming out. None of these really kicked our...
One that actually caught my attention, though, was scroll up one.
Whoop.
There we go.
This one, yeah.
Sword of the Sea. So this is coming from the team that I believe did Abzu, Giant Squid.
Very cool.
And they're bringing like a fascinating combo of like, you're basically surfing on swords through both the desert, but also the desert has magic water. And I was like, yes, everything about this. I don't know what's happening, but I love the vibes.
Very cool.
The soundtrack is probably going to be incredible.
Yeah.
I'm totally on board with this. It is coming to PS5 on August 19th, with the game releasing as part of the PlayStation Plus game catalog.
Fuck yeah.
So I've got like the middle high tier, so I think I'm going to be able to get this game for free, which rules. I can't wait to play this one.
I need to look back into the PS Plus on the higher tiers like that, because honestly,
really
we kind of got a taste of it with the Xbox Game Pass and how nice that was, and just we both use our PlayStations more.
We do.
So
now,
like it lends itself that we might try that out more. I know it's not have. Sorry, I don't mean to keep cutting off. I know it has it doesn't have as much of a library, but still, if at least it had like day one access to certain new games, like that'd be pretty sweet.
See, that's the one thing I'm going to say is that this is a rare sort of day one release thing for the PlayStation Plus catalog.
Okay.
This is not the norm. Mostly it's like legacy games.
I see. And then an older series, again, making a comeback, Thief, but it's going to be a VR version, which, I don't know. VR's making, it's cool they're still putting stuff out for it and still making games for it and still shooting towards making that more of a reality.
It must make money because otherwise they wouldn't be making games for it.
Exactly. All right. I feel like that was kind of the only thing that really hit for the Sony state of play. So why don't we move on to the Wholesome games?
Yeah.
All right. Wholesome Direct.
All right, the Wholesome Direct. I don't have like a formal list that I'm looking at here. I'm just going to be going from my copious notes on this. So the first one was Instance. And we've been talking about games that are big chillin' in the Discord. So I was like, Instance has a big chillin' vibes. It's basically a scrapbooking game. And I'm not going to lie.
I got to tell Sam about this then.
As someone that used to work at Hobby Lobby, and scrapbookers would come through all the time with the most fascinating purchases you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah.
This one looked actually quite relaxing. So you are scrapbooking a family's life and adventures together. It reminded me of that game where you were making your own custom stickers.
Ooh.
But to the max, because not only are you making your own stickers, you're doing entire page layouts for this scrapbook.
Very cool.
Love the sound of that. Story of Seasons, which if you don't recall, Story of Seasons is the new Harvest Moon. They got a convoluted way to get to a new game. But Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar is coming out August 27th it's coming out August 27th of this year for Switch, Switch 2, and Steam. All right, so Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar. This is the latest installment in the storied series. Anyway, Story of Seasons Grand Bazaar is coming out August 27th for Switch, Switch 2, and Steam. It looks like a pretty, not necessarily like bog standard iteration on the life and farming sim, and Story of Seasons has been around for a long, long time. But the thing that caught my eye about this one, because I love that kind of formula, you know me, but what caught my eye about this game is that it really seemed to be putting an emphasis on like mini games that you have to do to drum up business for your stall, because you like grow and forage for all of your own materials and stuff for your stall at the Grand Bazaar, and then you sell them yourself and you like set your own prices.
That's
and
cool.
You have to be like ringing bells and like, come and get it, discounts, summer is here, people. And I was like, I love this. That looks really interesting. Is this seat taken? I really like the look of this one because it very much reminded me of the art style from Snipper Clips, but a little bit toned down, like very geometric, fun, cutesy creatures. But the whole idea is that it's basically a puzzle game about seating charts, because it's all like word puzzles of like, okay, you've got all of these characters on screen and each of them has different desires and wants or dislikes.
Yeah.
So like if you see this person over here, well, there are mosquitoes over there. They're going to get bit up. They're not going to like that. Or if you sit this person over here, well, they're an employee and you've just set them right next to their boss, and that's like lame. So you don't want to do that. It looked really fun, really chill. I put in the Discord that it seemed like it was right up my and Ark's alley. It's a word game puzzle about seating everyone in the perfect spots. Sick seating chart action. Might not sound super exciting to some, but it sounds exciting to me. And that is, I don't think it had a firm release date, but it was slated for August of this year for Switch, Steam, and iOS and Android. And I have to say, this actually looks like a perfect mobile game.
Oh, yeah?
So I might actually just get it for mobile because it seemed like a really good match.
Nice.
Make Room is coming out August 7th as well for 2025, just for Steam, I think. This is basically Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, but without the Animal Crossing. So if you really liked the interior designification of Happy Home Designer, or if that just looked interesting to you, but you didn't have a Nintendo device to play it on, this is the game for you. Plus, it has the added feature of being able to craft your own furniture. So you're not just getting furniture from elsewhere, you can craft it all yourself. It looked very in-depth, very fun.
Very cool.
Vending Dokkan, a cozy kiosk. This one looked hilarious because you know that really popular game about like setting up your own corner store that got super popular on Steam? I don't remember what it was called. It was like Superstore or Super Buy, something like that. We don't
like the concept of it sounds familiar, but
the
I'm
concept
blanking on
is
the name.
familiar. It's also very hot, very, very in right now. But this is like a fresh new take on the resource and store management because you're just managing, designing, and stocking your own vending machines. And I was like, yes.
Incredible.
I love that.
Love that.
They really went in depth about like how you could customize both the exterior and stock of the vending machines.
Yeah.
And you could like make your little kiosks really fun and really vibrant. And I was like, yes,
That's
I
cool.
love that.
That's
That
cool.
looks fantastic. Camper van, make it home. Ark already gave a really good recommendation for this game in our recommendations channel in the Discord. If you want more information on that, head on over to Discord and check it out. That is actually, it's out now. This one is out now for Steam. Linked, Banner of the Spark, also out now for Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. This is a life farming adventure game with a twist. It's a cool sci-fi setting in a world full of robots. This one's got fighting, fishing, farming, collecting, and all that other stuff cozy gamers love. All Will Rise. I don't know how to describe this one. And also, it's not out now, and it probably won't be for a long ass time because it is currently in the crowdfunding stage on Kickstarter. But it looked, I put in my notes, looks both bonkers and cool. It looked like it was maybe
a winning combination.
It looked like the setting was probably India, and you play as somebody managing a team of what I believe are eco-terrorists because you're basically like trying to avenge a river spirit, I think, that maybe got killed off by pollution. It was all very vague. It was vague to me because a lot was happening. Anyways, it looked hilarious and maybe cool. It looked like a weird premise of like deck building, but you're building a deck to use like emotional manipulation during conversations to get what you want.
Interesting.
Fascinating. It looked
that
crazy.
does seem really
I was like, I don't know when it'll come out. I don't know how it's going to be, but I'm just putting a mental pin in All Will Rise. In 5 years, it might actually be kind of fun.
Interesting.
Gecko Gods. This one looked really cute. I actually am quite interested in this one. It's got a fall 2025 release. The demo is out on Steam right now. This one looks super cute. You play as a little blue gecko exploring a mysterious land. It's an exploration puzzle adventure game, and if it ever comes to consoles, I probably will give it a try. I think I looked this one up after the fact, and it might actually also be coming to PS5.
Oh, nice.
So fingers crossed for that. And Hotel Galactic, July 24th for 2025. Steam only. It's like the bathhouse from Spirited Away, but you get to manage it. That's exactly what I put in my notes. And then Discounty. This is another like store management, resource management game, but instead of just being cozy vibes, this one appeared to actually have the anxiety of retail life in it. And I was like, good.
You need to make people feel that pain.
People need to know that sometimes it blows to manage a store. And I believe that one is coming out. Yeah, August 21. So this one looked really good if you're into that kind of, like, imagine Stardew Valley, but that it actually were stressful. And it were just the store, no farming. I was like, yes, that seems pretty awesome. And that is everything that I thought was interesting from the Wholesome Direct.
Very, very cool. Woo! So we'll move on then to the Summer Game Fest, one of the main highlights of this past week, hosted by one Jeff Keighley and Lucy James, took over in the second half. And so this one had a pretty good collection of stuff. Some wild, some looked pretty fun, and of course, a few things that we were like, not for us. But a strong contender in the very heavily "this game is for Jarrett" genre, Chronicles Medieval. Like, it's in the name.
It's a Jarrett
game. Do
game.
I need to say anything else?
He really doesn't.
It very much looks like you either take the role of a singular knight and like have some massive journey through there, or you're leading battles more of like a Mountain Blade style, or maybe even Medieval Total Wars old style. Either way, it looks fantastic. It looks awesome. And the trailer was narrated by Tom Hardy. So come on. That's
hilarious.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Coming to PC in early access 2026.
We're mostly just clowning on this game in the Discord because the name cracks me up. I was basically making jokes about how, like, apparently we're really just running low on Biohazard adjacent naming conventions for horror games. Like, everything's already taken. So instead we're getting ill. ILL.
Purely seems to mean like that's how the game is going to make you feel.
It looked so gross.
Like, there are violent, like, grotesque games, and then there seems to be ill.
This one was a lot.
Like, just even the thumbnail of this of the trailer image that we're looking at right now is like a zombified baby with fangs and
bulging eyes.
I'm just not here for
everywhere.
It looks nasty.
Boy.
So,
but it is a survival horror game, and it looks like it's gonna really be up in the gore. So if that's up your alley, boy, have I got news for you. The most non-impactful game for a survival. Most
we should play it just
name.
to shit on it like Rage 2.
Oh my god. I'm sure it's probably going to be a good game.
Yeah. Then we also have this one. I more want to mention, not because I played the first one or anything, just shocked more that it's already getting a sequel. Atomic Heart. They announced Atomic Heart 2 from Mundfish.
It's
And,
crazy.
we looked at it, 2023, 2022,
Is
I
when the
believe was
first
when the
Atom-
first one came out.
It was 2023.
It has not been that long.
No.
And this game already has a whole nother sequel. It's not, like set in the world of, so it's not, I don't think necessarily a direct sequel, but still, so they could have been, kind of doing it at the same time, but still wild that we're
Yeah.
already getting a second Atomic Heart.
Crazy.
Only 3-ish years. Well, by the time I guess it actually comes out, it could be a few years down the road. Got a few more Sonic Racing.
Okay, so Sonic Racing Crossworlds, I love that they put Hatsune Miku in it. It's crazy. I do love that Sonic Racing is coming out at a time when, they really hammered home that this one is going to be cross-platform.
Ooh, love
which
it.
they did like a passive dig at Mario Kart for that, because it's like, yeah, all right, if you can actually have a fun racing game that's totally cross-platform with all your friends,
Yeah.
that sounds rad. So honestly, the gameplay looks really fun. I'm an OG Sonic R player. And if
Ooh.
you didn't play Sonic R for PC back in 1999 or whenever that game came out, boy, did you miss out.
All right, we did see some more showcase for Death Stranding 2, which is coming out later this month on June 26th. Again,
I don't know
typical
what's happening.
Kojima style, I have no idea what's fucking
We don't know what's
happening.
going on.
Like, the first game was wild. This second one, I'm like, I think he might have gone too far. We'll have to see. Brandon, friend of the show, please let us know how Death Stranding
But this
2
game is
holds up.
this game is coming out in 2 weeks
Yeah,
basically. So
really
it's
quick.
right breathing down our necks.
This one looks like it could potentially be up your alley.
Maybe.
Maybe?
I don't know, because
Only
it's
from the mystery part.
Only for the mystery part, because basically we're talking about Killer Inn, and inn being like a hotel. So it is a team-based social deduction game, which basically means you are lambs versus wolves. It kind of was like Among Us, but amped up to the max.
Oh, okay.
So you're
okay.
basically playing like a murder mystery theater where it's team versus team, and like the lambs have to find all of the wolves before the wolves can kill all of the lambs.
Interesting.
But there's guns and fighting and shit. So I was like, I don't know about this
Wild.
one, guys.
Okay, interesting.
But I love that they are doing something that I think has genuinely not been done before.
Yeah, that
so it's
seems
like,
pretty
all right,
unique.
queens and kings, go off. Looks rad.
Let's see. Mortal Shell 2 definitely looks like that could be a fun one for the Soulsborne fans out there.
Well,
it definitely caught my attention for that reason.
We were joking that it seems like a cross between like the amped up energy of Doom,
Yes.
with the aesthetics of Dark Souls. Like
Which-
that's what it looks like to me.
I'm all about that because I mean, right now playing through Doom: The Dark Ages, it kind of already feels like I'm playing Doom in a quasi adjacent setting to this, and it's fan-fucking-tastic.
Yeah.
So honestly, getting that experience switched on its head and being more of the Souls versus the Doom, but with like a little bit of that mixture in there, ooh, that sounds like a good time.
They describe it as a gory and brutal combat, terrifying creatures, and much more, coming to PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Scroll back down. In 2026.
Let's
New
see.
Scott Pilgrim
New Scott
game.
Pilgrim game.
That's all you need to
Co-op
know. Keep
brawler.
going.
Oh, another fighter. There you go. See what I mean? Then there's our Hitman World of Assassination. Mads Mikkelsen as Le Chiffre. Okay. We've talked about this game.
It's
twice
been
now.
so long.
It hasn't been as
It's been
long.
84 years.
It hasn't been that long. But this is a game. First trailer came out, I was like, fuck yeah, I'm in. Second trailer came out, I was like, I think I'm out. Now we're nearing release of Arc Raiders. And I'm kind of like, I might be back in.
Are you back in? Did
I
they
think
get
so,
you back?
because what it is now. I took the game from the original trailers and everything that it was going to be a little bit more of a Destiny-esque type of game. You know, it would be kind of online. You would be able to play with your friends, but it would follow a story set in this different universe. You would level up, you know, and then there might be some PvE, PvP situations thrown in there, stuff like that. That's what I thought it was going to be. Now it seems the game has kind of morphed and is now in the more of the extraction shooter genre. And which, I mean, I guess this could still mean it has like Destiny influences, because Destiny is like a looter shooter, I guess you would call it. And so like same things, but the big minor or major difference being that you have to complete the mission successfully to be able to get all the gear that you acquired during your runs. Normally that type of game, like I've seen Escape from Tarkov and a few others that just too in depth, too much going on, and honestly, like. It's the same kind of thing. Like, I don't want to spend the limited gaming time I do have available spending 45 minutes and then getting headshot in the last 3 seconds of an extraction.
I understand that.
You know?
Yeah.
But this one does feel and look that it has a little bit more of an approachable feel to it, and that it is more of I still kind of tread that line between Destiny and Escape from Tarkov. And so I feel like it might, similar to Clear Obscure, bring in enough from the two different genres to make it fun. Plus, it has a very cool 80s retro synthy vibe, like vaporwave vibe to it, and that is also very, very cool.
And it's coming out soon. Well, not soon, but sooner than you think. It's coming out on October 30th of this year for PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X and S. I am a little worried that it's coming out, air quotes, so soon because they were radio silent for so long. I'm a little worried that they might have fumbled the marketing, but they could ramp up.
It could.
ramp up.
I bet the marketing will ramp up. They did do a alpha and they did do a beta test like maybe 2 weeks ago or something, 3 weeks ago. So they have been doing actually let players get hands on with it. That's more not from this trailer, but that's from what I saw gameplay of and was like, oh, okay, I might be into this.
Gotcha.
So, Arc Raiders. I'm keeping an eye on you.
We're rooting for
I'm keeping an eye
yeah.
on you. Yeah, and I'm rooting for you. Okay, this one is one we just kind of want to poo-poo on for
We
a
just
little bit.
want to clown on them.
Game of Thrones War for Westeros lets you take command. This is the IGN recap. Lets you take command of the great houses and even the Night King himself. So this one also seems to be kind of, it's another real-time strategy game, in the vein, of Age of Empires, different stuff like that. But it's Game of Thrones focused, and it also seems to be like everybody's modeled after the HBO show.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
And then even the trailer,
this is just Kit Harington.
Yeah, it's even in the trailer. It's like, ooh, Jon Snow becomes a White Walker. This, I have nothing against tie-in games and different things like this. For whatever reason, this being Game of Thrones and then it being based off the HBO show, not just its own interpretation of characters, I'm kind of I don't know why. It just makes me feel less inclined to play it.
I mean, I'm already a noted Game of Thrones hater, so I don't give a fuck about hating on this game too. Game's gonna be bad. Onimusha, Way of the Sword. All right.
This looks like a fun time.
Yes, Onimusha, Way of the Sword is getting it's coming out. Did they give it? I don't think they gave it a release date.
I don't know if we have a release date for it yet.
They may have briefly shown 2026 at the end of that trailer. Don't quote me on that, but it looks cool. Yeah. Looks awesome.
Let's see. What else do we got here?
Scrolling.
Dying Light is coming out with its third game. So Dying Light the Beast. That's one I always wanted to play, but never got into it. I think the first person parkour aspect is going to turn me off of it, but it looks really good.
I mean, we've talked about this. I'm just not interested in zombie games at all. Ooh, Lies of P Overture. So if you're really into Lies of P, it just got a Shadow DLC drop on the day that Summer Games Fest aired. It looks like a really expansive DLC pack. So go play it.
And honestly, maybe you'd be like, ooh, maybe I should try that one out. I know it comes heavily recommended, but still, it did look good after seeing that DLC.
And then they closed it out. They teased it earlier, but then didn't do the full reveal. And then finally at the very end of the showcase, they did formally reveal Resident Evil 9.
Requiem.
Resident Evil Requiem. It is too bad that they ran out of the proper Roman numerals like they were able to do in Village.
Those are so cool. Village and Biohazard
fun.
and stuff. That was cool.
But so they revealed Resident Evil 9, the next entry in the beloved horror series for February 27th, 2026 release on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. They described it as a shift in the series, which I would like to know more about that.
Well, I think only because I think it's from the setting and then the main characters. We haven't finished Village. I know we've still been playing through Village, but I seriously doubt that 9, the main character, is still Ethan Winters. I would be very surprised. Plus, this has us going back to Raccoon City. As friend of the show Brandon filled us in on, it references the nuke that they set off to destroy Raccoon City. So it kind of seems like it's taking a jump maybe back more toward the mainline games, or the previous 1, 2, 3, or 1 through 6 line rather than 7, 8.
So some people have a theory. There's a little conspiracy theory that I've already seen. Somebody posted it in the Discord where some people think that Leon is actually going to be the shadow protagonist of Resident Evil 9. There's people conspiracy theorying like the person in the trailers isn't really the real protagonist. They're just going to be the setup, and then they're probably going to get brutally killed off, and then Leon will show back up. Or people were maybe thinking like
killed by Leon.
Or people were thinking like, oh, maybe the woman in the trailers is going to be your new Ashley, and Leon's just always going to be dealing with women that he has to save on his many adventures. Oh boy.
So some good stuff coming up out of the Summer Games Fest this year. The one thing though, and we'll talk about it because we'll talk about it now because I know you had a lot of expectation or hopes, really, that this game would make an appearance. And really, the two where you're hoping that it was going to happen was Summer Games Fest Showcase and the Xbox Games Showcase. But still, here we are. Other than some showing in a Rogue Alley promo, still no Silk Song.
Still no Silk Song. And it hurt the most in the Xbox showcase because when they were showing off the ROG Ally, like in the background and on the ROG Ally itself, they had all this Silk Song stuff. So I was like, oh my God, they're going to do it. They're going to announce Silk Song at the end of this Xbox showcase. And they did not.
Yeah.
I have once again been made a clown.
Which I'm now at this point, because then I think, again, Brandon in the Discord made the point, too, of just like Team Cherry has come out after and said that, hey, the game will be out before Christmas. But we're still like, well, how soon before Christmas? And so I feel like this game, obviously, it has massive appeal and like people are looking forward to it really, really hard. But now it's like...
I'm worried.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm worried.
Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Because it also wasn't cool that like it got mentioned in the Summer Game Fest and like... Jeff Keighley made a joke about not showing us a Silk Song trailer in favor of showing a trailer for the new Deadpool game.
Boo, which everybody hated.
Which honestly, I kind of was like, a little bit too. Not because it was that he didn't show Silk Song and showed this Marvel game instead. It was more that the joke was made that he's not showing Silk Song, and here's a game being made and like with all the backing of Marvel and Disney.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think about it that way. That does.
And
suck.
Neil Patrick Harris. We have Ryan Reynolds at home.
Right.
Basically. So it was just kind of like a thing of like, oh, wow, you're really going to do that. But I am legitimately worried about the game.
I am too.
Because what is going on with it that it's supposed to be coming out so soon, but they can't show us anything about it and can't give any details on it other than you just got to trust us pros.
Which, I mean, we don't know what kind of pressure Team Cherry might be under. I assume a lot because following up, a game that is widely regarded as one of the best in its genre.
Right.
It's one of my favorite games of all time. Like, that's a high bar to reach for. So honestly, if it doesn't come out this year and they have to push again, I would rather them do that
for sure.
than rush out a game that they're not really done with.
Yeah.
So I have concerns. I have worries for exactly the reasons that you described. Like,
what's going on?
Yeah, I'm worried.
Team Cherry, let us know.
There's 6 months left in the year, and you are saying that your game will be out in that time, but you're not willing to commit to that. That's a red flag.
Little worrisome.
Yeah.
Team Cherry, send us an email,
Hugs and
teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. Just let us know. We won't tell anyone. We just want to know ourselves.
Just tell us.
Just tell us.
We're not going to tell
friends.
anybody.
We're chums.
We can keep a secret. Anyways, speaking of the Xbox Showcase, this actually had at least 3 games that genuinely are at the top of my list.
Ooh, that's exciting.
From all of the various showcases. I thought there were a lot of really interesting things shown at this showcase.
All right, well, let's run through it. We got one of the big ones, of course, is that the Outer Worlds toot.
It does suck that they are so. We got to complain about this.
We got to rant. Who the hell decided it was okay for the Outer Wilds and the Outer Worlds to come out within a year of each other, ish, maybe? And then who decided to allow both those games to have sequels?
Yeah.
With the same damn naming convention.
Yeah,
that is just asking for a tongue twister.
You gotta know that like both of their SEO is probably fucked because they're constantly competing and bidding on each other's keywords.
It's gotta be tough.
Boy.
It's gotta be tough.
It's gotta be rough out there.
But hey, the Outer Worlds 2. Almost did it again. The Outer Worlds 2. New trailer.
They did a big showcase about it after the formal Xbox showcase. So if you want more details on that, it's out there.
Yeah. I didn't play Outer Worlds 1. Probably not going to. So, but fans of Obsidian and Obsidian adjacent games, go crazy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Here's Ninja Gaiden 4. Also Call of Duty Black Ops 7. Moving on.
Moving on. We don't need to worry about that.
This one, obviously, like the what was the other one? Red Shot, whatever the
Platinum
other
Games?
No, the
Renegade. I
Yeah,
think
it was
that's
Renegade.
right.
Okay,
Maybe.
Ninja Gaiden, Renegade. That looks fun. This looks super cool for the more 3D third person.
Yes, and so this game is being made
by
by Team Ninja in conjunction with Platinum Games. And Platinum Games is very well known for super high octane, very fluid action, and the gameplay for this game looked sick.
It looks really
I honestly
good.
wasn't interested in Ninja Gaiden, but now it's like, well, hang on.
I think I want to play
This game looks pretty cool. So it looks like it's going to be really interesting. And again, just a nice looking, handsome protagonist. Very mysterious.
Yes,
We
yes.
love a
We love
buttoned up
that.
man.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 coming out. Grounded 2.
I
This
can't
was kind of
believe
interesting.
This game is getting a sequel.
Same.
Like, this is one of the ones where, like, I'm happy for them.
Yeah.
But I just didn't realize that the first Grounded got enough buzz that it is getting a sequel now.
Yeah.
It seems like one of those underdog games that I'm like, really? Are you sure you had the sales number for it?
Which, I mean, it's
Maybe
cool.
they did.
It's a cool, like, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids kind of concept where you have to survive in your backyard amidst all the different bugs and creatures that you'll interact with. I don't think my arachnophobia would allow me to play this one.
No.
It might be a hard stop, but still the concept of it seems pretty fun. Gears of War, though, Reloaded, this does seem pretty fun. Because, like, I played the OG Gears of War back in the day, as did, a ton of other people. And getting it to come back with revamped graphics, 120 frames per second on there. And then, of course, a revamped multiplayer experience with crossplay across all platforms. So that means this is also getting a PS5 release.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. So, Halo Master Chief Collection to the PS5 anytime.
Yeah.
All right. This one, let's go ahead and talk about
Yes,
Keeper.
because this is like top of my list. I am so like, as soon as I saw the trailer really get like 10 seconds in, I was
Yeah.
like, sold. Give me this game. I love it. So this is the new game from I feel
Double Fine.
Double Fine. I feel like I was gonna botch their name. This is the new game coming from Double Fine, makers of Psychonauts.
Yeah.
Keeper features like a lighthouse that falls over on its side and then comes alive and grows tiny little silly legs and then just like goes crawling around the world. And I was like, I don't know what's happening, but
With a
I
bird
love
companion.
it. With a bird companion, it was probably the combination of like the tower aesthetic with sort of the game's general atmosphere and vibe. I was getting big flashbacks to Rhyme.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's just like a little gray matter thing. They're
Well,
probably
Rhyme
not.
also has a lighthouse.
Exactly.
Oh,
Big
okay.
lighthouse,
Yeah.
big tower. Like that's exactly where, and plus a little animal companion.
Yeah.
So I was like, big lighthouse tower, little animal companion.
back.
It's the same game. We're so back.
I think I was watching it and being like, is this kind of like, what's that movie, Mortal Engines, where it's like the moving cities?
Oh yeah! Wow, what a pull!
It kind of like how the
Engines?
lighthouse is like crawling and moving like that. It like kind of seems similar to that, but
Mortal Engines, a movie no one watched.
right. But still, it was like interesting. But it looks like it's going to be a pretty slick platformer. Have some
Yes.
cool like environmental puzzles and stuff. You obviously navigate with the lighthouse, but then interact with the bird. It's interesting. It looks like it'll be very interesting to see how it plays mechanically.
It looks like it's probably going to be like secretly very emotional. I feel like you're going to become really
Yeah.
emotionally attached to both the bird and the lighthouse. And then if anything happens to either of them, I'm returning the game to the store.
Even if you bought it digitally with no returns,
Doesn't matter.
you will
I'm
find a way.
returning it. But Keeper looks really fun. It is like top of my list from all of these showcases.
Yeah, it did look really cool. This is one that I'm honestly just like, it's cool to see because how many instances of this happening do you see it where a game that came out almost 20 years ago gets a remaster. Age of Mythology is what I'm talking about. Age of Mythology got a remaster with Age of Mythology Retold. And now that remaster is getting DLC
Yeah.
with basically the Japanese mythology being added in, which incredible. So that honestly makes me super excited for it.
Heavenly Spear is what it's called.
Yes.
Age of Mythology Retold, Heavenly Spear.
Yep. So that's pretty sweet. That just I saw that and I was like, wait, what? Had to do a double take.
Clockwork Revolution. This one I am passively quietly
my
intrigued.
attention.
It has my attention, but I'm very unsure about it because the trailers make it seem like it takes this very sort of quippy, sardonic, like, oh, we're too cool for school sort of
Yeah.
tone, which does not interest me at all. But the gameplay looked really
does, and the
interesting.
setting. It's a
the
very
gameplay and the setting, yeah. A lot of it actually really gave me Dishonored vibes because Dishonored had that kind of like steampunk aesthetic to it as well. But this game was clearly not going for stealth in any way, shape, or form.
Honestly, it looks like Dishonored mixed with Bioshock Infinite.
Yes, it really does. Like, absolutely. And there's like a little bit of a time travel mechanic in there too, which I find fascinating.
Yep.
So the story might blow, but the gameplay looks really interesting. So I'm keeping my eye on it.
And just like the atmosphere, like it's steampunk, so it very much has that look to it, but still just like how some of the various mechanics, menus, and stuff that you saw in the trailer. I was like, oh wow, that's some pretty interesting ways of showing all that.
There's
stuff
automatons. Everybody loves automatons.
Hell yeah. All right, then we got some big updates, I believe, with some games coming to Xbox, such as Final Fantasy 16 and Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade.
That's exciting.
So that is exciting stuff coming up there. And then were there really any? Oh yeah.
Yes. Wait, go back one.
Whoopsies.
So the second game that was actually really high on my list is At Fate's End.
Ooh.
This is actually the new game from Thunder Lotus, makers of Spiritfarer.
Oh, interesting.
A game that I famously gave a terrible review to.
Yeah, you were not a huge fan.
Because the gameplay ruled for 3/4 of the game, and then I really felt like they fumbled the ending because it's a very story-heavy game, Spiritfarer is. So I really felt like they fumbled the ending. But I've heard in post that apparently it later got a lot of DLC that kind of added/changed the ending.
Interesting.
That I think would have made it a little bit better. But the way that the ending landed originally, I was like, I have decided I hate this game.
It is not for
But
me.
I loved the aesthetic. I loved the music. Again, I loved the gameplay for 3/4 of the game.
Yeah.
And At Fate's End has like, I see all the ingredients. It's all there. The art style looks phenomenal.
Yeah.
The character designs are so cool. There was a hot, sexy sword man. And like on the tarot card that they gave for him for character art, he's going butt out, like ass forward. And I'm like, damn, okay.
Oh, not naked, but it's just
no,
like-
no, it's just very prominent. It's like,
Nice.
yeah.
It's
we
like posed with intention.
Posed with intention. That's
like
a great
it. I
way
like
to say
it.
it.
I like it.
But it looked like a really interesting combination of, first of all, combat, which Spiritfarer did not have any of. So At Fate's End is going to have combat, and the combat looked like it was maybe based on like cards and deck building as well.
Ooh,
but
that's
similar
interesting.
to like your cards seem like they maybe deal with emotional damage. So like it seemed
Interesting.
like it looked like it was maybe a game about like family and generational trauma. But like, how are you gonna get around to that? Because it was all like swords and sword fighting and stuff. So anyways, At Fate's End looks like it's gonna be rad. I'm gonna hold out faith. I'm not gonna knock Thunder Lotus for that one game whose ending I hated. I'm gonna hold out faith that it's gonna be awesome.
So, kind of in a similar vein, another game that was announced as a follow-up game from a studio that we love, Drinkbox. I'm also kind of nervous about. Like, it also curious, wanted to succeed, love Drinkbox games, but I did play. I know I haven't talked about it much on the show, but I did play Nobody Saves the World, their previous game, and while it had a really great start and was really fun at the beginning, kind of a similar issue. It got kind of old with the gameplay loop. It kind of ran, started running into basically overstayed its welcome.
Yes.
And so I kind of fell off of it there at the end. But Guacamelee 1, Guacamelee 2, we loved those games.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that Blighted, their new game coming out soon that they announced, will kind of be maybe a bit more of a return to form, Metroidvania style game. So that's always exciting to see. So looking forward to that one as well.
I will say that in contrast to Guacamelee and Guacamelee 2, this is more of the top-down isometric view.
Nice, which is kind of what Nobody Saves the World.
And
So
I
interesting
love
that
that.
they're. I do too. Which is cool that they're following that, where they have the two styles for one game, two styles for another game.
Yeah,
carries
cool.
on. It's fun stuff. Aphelion is one that kind of caught my attention in that it looks like a fun sci-fi adventure as you play an astronaut seemingly lost in space and exploring new territories. It is made by Don't Nod, so we do love to see that. But already the trailer kind of gave me vibes of Life is Strange in space.
Yeah, it did.
So, which kind of at this point, Don't Nod at one point an excitement thing. Now they seem very stuck in that.
Yeah, they do.
And so I would kind of like to see outside of that, but still, they usually make great games.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. In crazy news, Super Meat Boy is finally getting a new game, and it is 3D. So Super Meat Boy 3D. Actually, I kind of don't love Super Meat Boy because it is almost a little too gross for me.
It's so hard too.
And it's so hard.
Holy shit!
So this is a 3D platformer. You know and love Meat Boy from its 2D days. It looks like it's going to be super hard. So if you're into that, yeah, it looks like it's going to be tough. So if you're into that, congratulations. Super Meat Boy 3D is coming soon to consoles near you, console and PC near you. And then the last game that I was actually really interested in.
And I saw this and watched 5 seconds of the trailer. Was like, no, not for me.
So here's the thing. We're talking about There Are No Ghosts at the Grand. And this is the second hotel-based mystery game that we're talking about here. Because you gather that you are you're like somebody's niece or nephew, and you've come to a hotel that's been mostly kind of abandoned for more like it's fallen into ruin. So you've inherited a hotel from your missing uncle, I want to say. Like your missing grandpa or your missing uncle or your dad or somebody. Like a family member is missing. They used to manage this hotel, the Grand. Now you're coming in to A, fix up the hotel, and B, solve the mystery of your missing family member. And that's where they got me. Because I was like, oh, a mystery.
I love a mystery.
A good mystery in a hotel.
Call me Nancy Drew. Give me a case to solve.
But the thing that really I wasn't sure about, and we were talking about this in the Discord, in the trailer at least, there are a couple of different scenes where characters break out into song. And that makes me nervous.
That's what lost me, honestly.
That's what might lose me too.
I do enjoy a musical here and there. I don't think I'm going to enjoy a musical game.
Yeah, so it really depends on how prominent the musical aspect is. Again, maybe that was just how they wanted to do the trailer.
Right.
But maybe that is how the gameplay is.
Yeah.
And if that's going to be the case,
that's a hard sell because it's I don't know. It just seems interesting.
I understand. I get it.
And all that stuff. But, again, an interesting way of doing a fun mystery game and stuff like that. But it's a wild swing. We'll see if it pays off.
So I liked the look of it. I thought the gameplay looked really interesting. There's a talking kitty. Everybody loves a talking kitty. So if they can pull off the mystery and the hotel renovation aspects, I think I will be really on board with this. Highly dependent on the musical aspect.
It's also kind of the thing, too. It's it's one of those things. I have a hard time watching movies, and musicals can be this way, too. But it's where that's the main point of something, and if it's not good, there was this one movie, I can't remember it now, what the title of it is, but it was made by Mike Birbiglia, and it was about a group of friends who were improv comics.
Oh, I feel like I know what you're talking about.
And it was the thing where it was they were supposed to be these fantastic, incredible comics, blah, 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 and running it, some interpersonal relationships and different stuff like this. But every time there would be a comedy scene at a comedy show for one of them, I never laughed. So it was kind of the weird thing of this just is not hitting, and I'm not sure what the right audience is for.
Yeah.
And obviously people like that movie, so there was an audience for it. But that's kind of what this is hitting me with the same feel. If these songs just aren't good and you banked your whole game on this, it's a swing. It's a swing.
This is one of those ones that I want it to be really good.
Yeah.
Because it might be awesome. But we'll just have to wait and see. But it is going to be for console and PC.
Very cool. Very cool.
Oh,
well, I think
they did a lot about the ROG Ally X. So just in case you were wondering, what are my other options beyond the Steam Deck? There's the new ROG Ally specifically for Xbox.
Very cool. Very cool. I think that's it.
I think that's everything.
I think we've gone through it all.
Which, I'm not going to say that it was all the best quality stuff in the world because only a few games really stood out to me.
There was not the one game that I was just blown away, can't wait to play.
Yeah.
A lot of them that looked fun, but none that just I was oh, that's what I'm soaking up, waiting for the next X amount of months.
And most of the ones that seemed really interesting to me, kind of no surprise, they seem more like the indie/AA games, like No Ghosts of the Grand, At Fate's End, and Keeper. I don't think you would consider to be indie because Double Fine is very well established. But the difference between a AAA vibes game
Yeah.
versus an indie vibes
Oh, for
game.
sure.
It's an atmosphere thing.
Yeah.
But anyways, Keeper, number 1. At Fate's End, number 2. Everything else is like, I would hope to see it be good. Oh, and Ninja Gaiden 4. Ninja Gaiden 4 looks
honestly,
great.
the Ninja Gaiden games are kind of where I'm at. Resident Evil, I'd say I'm pretty hyped for, just because that's always cool to see such a big franchise continue on like that. Keeping it up and trying something new. So that looks really cool. But the Ninja Gaiden games, Ragebound, that's what it was.
Oopsies.
Those do look pretty sweet. So I'm excited for
We
all
had
of
the
that.
R and the G, and
We were close.
Yeah, we were close.
Well, all right, everybody. That concludes our wrap up of We Have E3 at Home. And we hope that you enjoyed our recap. And if you have any thoughts, well, we'd love to hear them. So send us an email at teamchatpodcast@gmail.com. Comment wherever you're listening to or watching the show. Follow us on social media. Join our Discord and talk about it with us there. We would love to have you and hear from you. But until then, everybody, that wraps up this episode of Team Chat Podcast. Come back. I think next week we are planning to actually jump into the Hitman special event with Le Chiffre to play the new James Bond setting because, as we said before, we're enjoyers of the Hitmen and
We're not
miscounting
going to
of
miss
the men.
out on that.
We're not going to
we're going to miscount those men.
So join us next week as we do another Team Chat Plays where we'll be playing through Hitman World of Assassination Casino Royale Edition. But until then, everybody, I'm one of your hosts, Jared Wilson, joined to my right by Rachel Mogan.
Adios.
We'll see you next time.